Hey, Gabriel Blake.
Jose,
Where are we today?
we are at our homes. It's rainy and cold and noisy everywhere.
I love it. I mean, the noisy part, I don't think that I love it that much. I don't know exactly what is happening on your, I don't know, eclectic neighborhood.
No,
But
I
in
mean
mine
we
it's pretty
can't go
quiet.
anywhere to record because it's rainy and
Oh, gotcha. I thought that actually the reason why we wouldn't be going out to record is because all the like the cases, the coronavirus cases, they are like going up like crazy, and we just went from yellow to red, and they're saying that maybe next week we'll go to purple.
oh, don't tell me that.
Yep. Yeah, we had a reservation for House of Prime Reef, and it got cancelled. We almost cried. Yeah.
I remember the week that this started, I had a massage get canceled. I had 3 dinner reservations get canceled, and I threw myself a pity party. And now, 9 months later, I'm like, whatever. I got champagne at home.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least you actually stopped drinking White Claw, so you're doing better now.
The White Claw started during the pandemic out of desperation.
You were like at bottom, when you were like at rock bottom. But
I
you got
started
better
drinking
now.
White Claws. I dyed my hair blonde, and
But yeah, so what did we watch today for just dealing with these crazy times?
we watched the David Lynch Palme d'Or winning film Wild at Heart from 1990, starring
Okay,
Laura
good.
Dern and Nick Cage.
And William Dafoe and many others.
Isabella
Uh,
Rossellini.
Yeah, that's right. So why did you pick this?
So first off, I like all David Lynch films except for really Inland Empire, which I don't get at all. So this was on the list because I wanted to rewatch it. I haven't seen it in like 10, 15 years. I was really surprised you hadn't seen it, as you have seen most David Lynch films.
Yeah.
And I wanted to cleanse my palate from, what did you make me watch last?
Wow, Le Samurai.
Oh no, that was fine. There was something I watched recently and I begged you, can we watch something light next?
Oh, Life Aquatic. Oh, Funny Games. Funny Games, it has been like just 6 weeks ago, or 8 weeks ago.
It's still in my psyche.
I mean, I would say that we was like way more stuff for actually cleansing our palate after Marie Antoinette.
Marie Antoinette was the palate cleanser. It was
Okay. So you wanted to just have like a different flavor there.
yeah.
So let's see how I summarize this in a way that I don't give away exactly how I feel about it. So this movie stars, you say, by Nicolas Cage and Laura Dern. They are cross-star lovers. I really like that expression. I wish that I could use it like more often, like at work. It's like, your work is cross-star engineering. So these two cross-star lovers, Nicolas Cage and Laura Dern, basically they get separated when Nicolas Cage got sent to jail because he murders a guy in front of Laura Dern in the middle of a party. And the guy...
It was manslaughter and it was self-defense.
Sure. And the guy that was trying to kill Nicolas Cage probably deserved because it's Nicolas Cage, but he was actually hired by Laura Dern's mother, both in the movie and in real life. So Diane Ladd is the mother of Laura Dern.
I didn't realize that. Wow, I feel like an idiot. Yeah, completely.
Yeah, I think that I texted you yesterday because when I started watching, it's like, wow, the woman looks a lot like Laura Dern, and it feels like they actually just casted them together. And then I was thinking, like, oh no, it's actually the mother. That's weird. Yeah.
So Bruce Dern is her husband?
Let me just check. And maybe Sarah Roberts was founder, 99, William Sear, Bruce Dern was the husband from 60 to 69.
Connecting all the dots.
Yep. I had to say that that the daughter is significantly more talented than the mother. Let's just leave it there. But it's also true that is how the character was written. It was a bit more of a parody. But I don't want to give away too much. So basically, the whole story is Nicolas Cage comes out from prison. He's completely still madly in love with her, and they elope, and they actually run away from the clutches of the mother. But the mother won't stop there, and she will start hiring like the help of multiple, even bizarre and more bizarre killers for just hunting them down, or hitmen.
One's a private investigator, the boyfriendish type one, the guy that just died. That was
Harry Dean Stanton, the guy from Big Love. Yeah.
And then the other guy's just doesn't make any sense at all in this world, and that was so bizarre. That guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Santos is the other one that basically murdered, because there, of course, there is a backstory to Laura there, that the poor girl lost her father, in a fire at his place, that basically he decided to set himself on fire. But no, it was not like that. It was actually a complot between an evil guy called Santos that burned him down by the request of the mother.
Of the mother, yeah.
But the mother still didn't actually keep going with him, and they did the private investigator. And the private investigator, when he's hired for him hunting down Nicolas Cage and Laura Dern, he actually asked them, please don't involve Santos. But she does, because he's a bitch. So,
psychopath. I mean, most people in this film are psychopaths.
Yeah, they're psychopaths, or they're like delusional psychopaths.
Yep.
One of the choose.
Want to be psychopaths.
Yeah. So then we have like some amazing scenes, like Nicolas Cage like backflipping out of a roster car, and then start like just kicking and punching in the air by the sound of some heavy metal music, or just making sweet love to Laura Dern, or stopping a concert, and then basically start singing himself a love song to Laura Dern. And fun fact, actually, that's like Nicolas Cage singing.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that for sure, but it sounds like him. He's not bad.
He's pretty good, actually. That may be like the best thing that he does in the movie, singing. If it's actually something that the movie needed or not, that's a different question that we will discuss in a moment.
You don't think that he was excellent in this role?
Let's continue. So the story progresses, and it turns a bit more into a into a road movie, that they go to New Orleans. We don't see like too much of New Orleans. They just tell us now they are really in New Orleans. They keep going to Texas, and then they cross paths with Willem Dafoe. That is supposed to be the second hitman that is hired to have him down, but they don't know it, because Nicolas Cage.
Bobby Peru? Is it Bobby Peru?
Bobby Peru, yeah. He does like an extremely disgusting role, and he does really good. He's like just very convincing. Yeah.
He is very disgusting.
Yeah, that's amazingly good. And actually, they don't know that he's going for them, and even the audience doesn't know it. They only know that there is another hunter that is going after them. And Nicolas Cage tries to use the help of Isabella Rossellini. That it took me a while to realize. I think that Isabella Rossellini, I just have it associated with her age post 2000. That it just looked like the same person. This is like, no, that cannot be Isabella Rossellini. That's way too young.
As a bleach blonde with a unibrow, you didn't.
No, I know that's not her style, her usual style. So Nicolas Cage asks her if there is someone going after him, because she owes him some kind of favor, and she lies to him like point blank. He said, no, there is no hit on you. No one is going after you, but there is. And that's the grand finale, when they actually go robbing a bank together, while Laura Dern, just after Laura Dern saying that she's pregnant and getting like verbally abused by Willem Dafoe in a very disturbing scene too, but really well made. Yeah. And then actually their bank robbing turns into a Quentin Tarantino movie.
It sure did. It went into a violent place that I feel like David Lynch doesn't do that much. He has violence, but not like that.
not that graphic, not that, I'm going to go all out, extremely gory. Is like the guy Willem Dafoe like shots a couple of people and then actually gets shot like 20 times. That feels like the kind of stuff that Quentin Tarantino would do, and at the end he falls on top of his shotgun and he blows his head off.
Fun fact, when this movie premiered in Europe, I mean, it was received how it was received, but then when he tried to release it in America, or the studio did, they were going to give it an X rating. And because NC-17 wasn't a thing yet, and he was contractually obligated to deliver a rated R movie, so he just put some CGI smoke in front of that head when it got blown off, and that got it an R rating.
Oh, gotcha. So what did he do with the hand that the dog steals at the end?
That stayed. Well, according to what I read, which probably...
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it turns into that, so he's sent back to prison, and then we have like the resolution of the whole story that he's like just released, I don't know how many years later, 6 years later actually, because Laura Dern already has the kid, Pace, and they meet up in what it looks like is LA? I thought that it was LA, I'm not sure, where tragedies are happening left and right, there is accidents, there are guns or whatever, and Nicolas Cage meets up with Laura Dern. It looks that they're going to be like just driving into the direction, but then he says like, no, you shouldn't be with me. You deserve
You're too
something
good
more."
for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So he just walks away, but then he gets actually assaulted by a gang, and first he tells them, what do you guys want? What do you faggots want? Yeah, so they
The
actually
90s were
just,
so different.
yeah, they just punch him, and then he has a vision of Gruntilda, was it? Like the good witch from the Wizard of Oz?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there is like multiple references to the Wizard of Oz across the whole movie, and it tells him about like, no, she loves you, go back with her, and then he sees the light. He just stands up after just receiving like a lynching from 20 people, and he says like, I'm really sorry for calling you homosexuals, and you guys just helped me seeing the light.
learned my lesson.
Thank you. I learned a lesson in my life. Thank you so much. I'm leaving. And then he runs away, meets up with Laura Dern again, and just sing on top of their car, like the song that he will only sing for his wife.
Yep, that's about it.
Yep, I mean, there are like other parts. I had to say, if I like it or not, I liked some scenes of it. I think that some scenes when he actually when he embraces the weirdness and the bizarreness, that is like his style. I think that was good. There are like some scenes that they are genuinely creepy, like the first time that you see how the father is like just set on fire, like just running through the house. I thought that it was like visually impacting. Or for example, like the story of the cousin, that he thought that every single day was Christmas.
Jingle Dell, that was like the most disturbing 45 seconds that I've seen in so long. I was like, this is amazing. This is like David Lynch.
Yep, yeah, and I agree. Is that part is incredible, but the problem is that the rest of the envelope, the rest of the context is missing. It's a bit more like, is this like a vignette kind of thing? Because there are other scenes that they are strong, like when Laura Dern is talking about like, oh yeah, I got raped by my uncle, whatever. Well, he was not my uncle. He was, and you just show like the how do you say, like the flashback immediately, and that you even see how she's like just lying about that, about like exactly how it happened. There is there is a bit more, there is like something disturbing, and this movie actually made me think that Blue Velvet may be better than I thought that it was, because this one is worse than I expected.
So you liked it?
I like pieces of it. That's what I'm saying. Is that I like pieces of it. I understand that from my perspective, he tries to just say like, oh well, we know how this kind of cross-star lovers stories go. What about if I take it to the absurd and to the surreal as I like? So the guy, I don't know if they even like just call him that, but it's like Nicolas Cage basically is Mr. Cool. Everything that he does is amazing. He has like the perfect one-liners at every single spot. It's like when he starts like just, and I think that he tries to just even like portray this to the audience, almost like saying like, this is what you usually see in other movies and you never say anything. What about if I take it like just a notch farther? Is like you say something, and when he's singing, you hear like ton of pre-recorded like screams. There is like the same sample going over I don't know if you realize about like just the girls like just being overexcited, like ah. And it's like at that point, it's like this is absurd, but it's like it doesn't work completely. I feel like if there is like a higher message, if there is something else that is supposed to happen here, I don't get it. If I compare this with Mulholland Drive, that is like all the surrealist is serving a purpose that is like creating an environment, creating a world. For me, it doesn't work here.
So I have to say that I liked it less than I remember liking it by a lot. I still liked it, but I completely agree with what you're saying in that it felt like a bunch of vignettes, like a bunch of not fully realized thoughts that should have been like photographs or paintings. This wasn't a movie, but it had these individual moments that were very, very impactful and gross and absurd and horrific, and so I agree with that. I think Nicolas Cage was fantastic in this movie. I think Laura Dern is astonishing in this movie. She is so good. She plays everything from like a 13-year-old to like a 30-year-old, and you can see these changes in her. It's just insane. And she has all of these monologues. I don't know if you noticed how many monologues she had when she was in bed with Nicolas Cage, just chatting. Talking. Like those were really, really beautiful. Well, I don't want to say beautiful, striking scenes.
Yeah, they were well delivered.
Yeah, but yeah, as a overall movie, as a 2-hour, more than 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
I feel like, so I read that he was approached by what I think is a studio to adapt this guy's book, and he was like, sure. I don't think he knew what the hell to do with the novel. And I read that he doesn't watch a lot of TV, he doesn't watch the news, he doesn't watch movies, so none of his work really feels derivative because he doesn't have anything to pull from. Huh. This is the first thing that I felt like, yeah, it's derivative. And I've never seen Elvis movies. I have seen The Wizard of Oz, but apparently there's a tremendous number of nods to Elvis movies, and then there's all nods to The Wizard of Oz. So it's like he just had so much source material and he didn't know what to do with it, that he was able to deliver in these individual moments that were stunning, like Jingle Bell, which sticks with me to this moment. Yep. But it's not a cohesive or it's not a compelling narrative.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, if you actually compare with Mulholland Drive, that we talked about it recently, is that there is still like some scenes. They, for example, like my favorite one when they are on the diner and the guy talks about the dream and they go out, that it still disturbs me to this day, you know. And it's true, it's memorable, like Jingle Bell, but the thing is, like, that helps out setting a tone. That helps out, like, just keep moving, like, the narrative. Not about, like, just moving the story per se, but moving, like, just building an atmosphere. On this movie, it's like I see, like, some aspects of that. I see, like, the weirdness of Isabella Rossellini's sister. You know, like with the black guy, and there are other like a trio of serial killers that they end up killing the detective, and it's like the thing is, like, if you use them in more than a single scene, develop them. Like, just give me a reason for them being there. Don't make them like just a lynching device, because if you're making a lynching device, you can do better. Yeah, and I feel like I'm always the guy that brings up character development. There's nothing in this movie to develop characters, which signifies to me that he wasn't interested in a character-driven story. He wanted a visual or like a situational visual experience, and it just didn't work. And yeah, you're right. There are scenes in Mulholland Drive that were way more powerful. For me, while I was also disturbed by the diner and the guy behind the dumpster, it's when they go to the secret theater and that the Silencio. Yeah. It's between 1990 and when did that come out? 2001? 2001, yeah.
He developed way more. This feels like a sophomore effort, like literally a sophomore effort.
Well, but I don't fully agree with that. I don't fully agree with that because he already did Eraserhead.
Yes, but that was kind of a he splashed onto the scene and everyone's like, where the fuck did this guy come from? Where is he going from here?
He already did Blue Velvet, and you like Blue Velvet.
I love Blue Velvet. He had also already done the pilot for Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
He had just finished the pilot and went to do this movie.
Yeah, so it's like I just have the feeling that he was at a point that he already knew what his style and greatest strengths were. You know, so it's like, that's the problem that I have, is like this almost feels, not that you were rushed for completing it, but I felt like the last 40 minutes of the movie, I was like, I'm done with this. Yeah. I just realized that when William Dafoe was on the screen, it's like, yeah, he does a good job. But it's like, at this point, it's like, I wish that you were just done instead of just keep moving. It's like, I don't think that you're going to have like anything else that is going to be like changing my perspective on this.
So did you see Twin Peaks, the movie?
The Fire Walk with Me? Yeah, for me, it's a bit weak.
It's weak. It's comparable to this film, I think, that it has some interesting things, but ultimately it fails to reach its lofty ambitions. It's one of the weaker David Lynch films I've seen. I still like it, but it's not fantastic.
So, two things. The first one is, The Fire Walk with Me at least has some kind of excuse. That I think that it was like some kind of imposition or half agreement with the network, cable TV or whatever, that they were doing like Twin Peaks, and about like, hey, we want like a bit more of Twin Peaks. It's like, okay, I would do like this prequel sequel thing, and we will all be happy about it. So it was a bit more of I think that there was some kind of a errant feeling about like, yeah, I would do it, but because I'm forced to do it. And the second thing is like, if you check on the Criterion Collection, they have like half of his movies there. They have Blue Velvet, they have Eraserhead, they have Fire Walk with Me, they have Mulholland Drive, I think they have also like Lost Highway and Elephant Man, but they don't have Wild at Heart.
Yeah, this was actually incredibly difficult to find. I watched it because I own a DVD copy that I bought at Blockbuster when they were going out of business. And you had to go somewhere else to find. Like, you can't just go to Amazon and stream it, YouTube, Google. It's just not anywhere. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that it's a minor movie, but it's like a part of me just thinks, like, was he like just too spread across other projects? And this was like something in the middle that is, okay, I would just push it out. But it doesn't feel rushed. It feels like the direction that he was trying to give was not the right one. That he was like trying to say, okay, I have this book and I have like all these influences and I'm going to try to just shoehorn them and something interesting eventually is going to come. And it's like, oh, nothing is interesting is coming. Okay, I'm going to be like just throwing some weirdness to it, you know, some of my Lynchian weirdness.
So not to give him an excuse, but this actually came at a very weird time in his life. He was working with a guy named Dino De Laurentiis.
Okay.
And this company had bought two of his projects to produce, and then this company went out of business, like went bankrupt, but still owned the rights. So this was a very weird time that Twin Peaks hadn't been picked up. He wanted to make a couple movies, but he couldn't because of this bankruptcy. And then this project came along. And I'm getting all the details incorrect, but I read this story. David Lynch said it wasn't Dino's fault, but when his company went down the tubes, I got swallowed up in that. So he wasn't able to make the things that he wanted to make during this time, and he was looking for a project, and this thing came to him, and he's like, I guess I'll do it. So this is all on the Wikipedia page that I will look up the facts for after the podcast instead of before.
That's right. I mean, I just felt like this is a weak David Lynch movie. It doesn't feel like an imitator. It feels like, okay, this is 100% David Lynch, but I feel like it's weak. It has a good cast. It has like probably one of the best casts in any of his movies all around. Nicolas Cage, I will give you that he was more tolerable than I expected, but it's like, I don't like that character, how it's written, because it's a parody. It's a parody of Elvis Presley.
It is. The entire film is a parody, and that's a complaint of mine, is that I think David Lynch was afraid to be more honest. So he hid behind this like absurdity. And absurdity works with David Lynch in different ways, like Eraserhead, but this just felt like kind of a way to not invest in the characters. And I do agree, it is a weak David Lynch film. It's one of the films now that I like the least of his, but it's still more interesting than almost every Hollywood production.
Yeah, but this is not a Hollywood production.
Correct. I'm saying, so even though this is a weak David Lynch film, it's still more interesting to me personally than, mainstream stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I won't disagree with that. Is that I think that 99% of the cinema that we see here is better than the average Hollywood production, except Clueless. But everything else, because that's Hollywood. I'm sorry, but that's Hollywood. Or Jurassic Park, that's Hollywood too.
That's a really good movie.
And he's also Laura Dern.
Yeah, she's so good. She, for a long time, I've told you this many times, I thought I was straight because of Laura Dern in Jurassic Park.
Wow. Okay. No, that's completely understandable. She's really talented. And she's pretty pretty. She's like way prettier than the mother. Let's just see. Did you like?
She is also. I confuse talent with attraction. That's why I want to have sex with Kate Winslet.
Okay, that's fair. Did you like all the scenes when the mother is just going like a silent film star and just acting with her hands, and just going like a witch?
Yes, for me, the cast worked perfectly. Their performances are outstanding. And I liked how when she went completely insane, and I bought it. I can understand if that rubbed you the wrong way, and it's not for everybody, but I mean, the actors were able to do more with the script than David Lynch.
Yeah, but they didn't enough for actually saving the movie, honestly.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that it's a failure, but it's like if we go to our questions, if someone asks me about like a David Lynch movie, this would probably be the last. It would be probably even beyond Dune, because Dune was like such a disaster that at least I feel like, okay, as a disaster, I think that you will enjoy more Dune than what I heard.
So I haven't seen Dune, so guess what I'm doing after this is recorded?
Sure, go for it. Preparing for the Villeneuve version.
So let me ask you this. When I asked you why you hadn't seen this film, it's because you were under the impression that it was more of a straightforward, like The Elephant Man sort of film.
Yeah, or a straight story. But to be completely fair, it's way more straightforward than Lost Highway, for example.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Or Firewalk with Me, or it's true that The Elephant Man is David Lynch just looking at the camera and saying like, yeah, I can do conventional cinema and I can be fucking amazing. I mean, the straight story is like just taking it like even a step further about like, yeah, this movie could be directed almost by anyone. It doesn't have to be like a David. I mean, not by anyone, but what I mean is like, yeah, you do like a really good job, but it's like, did you lose some kind of bet or something? And someone told you cannot do anything Lynchian on your movies. But I like it. I think that it's a good movie. I don't think that it's a good David Lynch movie. And The Elephant Man, I think that it strikes like a very interesting balance.
So just to go back to your statement that I found so absurd it almost was embarrassing, you think Dune is better than this film?
No, I think that Dune is worse, but it's so much worse that it's like if someone were to ask me, it's like, hey, recommend me like the worst movie from David Lynch. Dune. Recommend me like the best movie, Mulholland Drive. Recommend me a movie that starts with W from David Lynch. Walk with Me, Fire. So it's like I cannot even think about a situation where I would recommend this movie unless someone asks me, it's like, can you think of a movie with David Lynch and Nicolas Cage? That is like, yeah, I mean, it would be Walk with Me. Are you recommending it? It's like, no, I'm not.
So wait, what if somebody said, hey, recommend me one of the less like popular David Lynch films?
A Straight Story.
Before this.
What do you mean, like before this?
You would recommend Straight Story before Wild at Heart?
I think so, because I think that people, as I told you, they forget that it's a David Lynch movie because it could be directed by anyone.
But at least this Wild at Heart feels like you're in David Lynch's universe.
Yeah, that's true. But it's like, honestly, if I have to actually just find like the specific question, like for 5 minutes, that someone will ask me for recommending Wild at Heart, that means that I will never recommend this movie.
So I guess I'm pushing back so hard because I feel like, one, I recommended this movie to you.
No, you made me watch it. That's different.
Yeah, but anytime I ask you to watch a movie that I've seen, it's kind of a recommendation. Let's talk about Sunshine. That was a great movie for the first 2/3.
Come on, man. Let's just let it die. Just let it go at this point.
So I guess, so let's just talk about the question now. Yeah, I would probably still recommend this movie. I'd be like, it's got a lot of problems, but there's a lot of interesting stuff in it. That's probably what I would say.
But in what context? You know, it's like if they ask you about a David Lynch movie, would you recommend this movie?
No, this is for people more well-versed in film. Like, I would assume this person, this imaginary person, has seen Blue Velvet, has seen Eraserhead, and they're like, I want to learn more about this director. I'd be like, well, you probably haven't seen this one. Watch Wild at Heart. It's like a lesser Lynch, but it's still interesting and makes you feel all the Lynch feelings.
I don't know if it really makes you feel like all the Lynch feelings. You know, is that the only discomfort that I got out of this movie is that it was more than 2 hours, to be fair.
I can understand that, but like Jingle Dell freaked me the fuck out. The scene where Willem Dafoe basically sexually assaults Laura Dern and then humiliates her by rejecting her embrace of the sexual assault. Come on, like.
Yeah, but they're like, that's what I say. That is like, they're good scenes, and that's the reason what I think that this movie. I'm not going to be like jumping to the score, but it's not bad because those scenes saves it. You know, but it's like overall, is that those scenes don't succeed on creating an atmosphere for the whole movie.
Completely agreed, but those scenes make it worth recommending to somebody with an interest in David Lynch.
Did you watch Fire Walk with Me?
Yes.
So David Duchovny was on that he was like the transgender FBI agent.
I haven't seen this movie in 15 years. I don't remember a transgender character, but I'll take your word for it.
By David Duchovny. So there is a scene that I was thinking about it when I was watching Wild at Heart, that they arrive on the village or whatever, and suddenly like someone is dancing in a very like weird way in front of them, and they start like just looking at them. It's like he's telling us something about their cousin, and they try to make sense of something completely absurd that is happening in front of them. That is the feeling that I was having at the scene when they are in the motel in Big Tuna, and they are like the three big girls like just dancing topless, and the 2 guys are passing by in front of them, and everything is bizarre. Everything is if there is some kind of meaning that is coming out of this, I don't get it, because I think, and that's the problem that I have, is like I feel like it actually waters down his art. There is that you're using your style not for a purpose, you're using your style just for proving that you can do weird stuff.
Did you see Nocturnal Animals?
No, I haven't. We talk about it.
So I feel Tom Ford ripped off the opening sequence straight from that scene, because all it is very large women, topless women dancing. And I was like, this is where Tom Ford got this. He took this from Wild at Heart.
Wow. Okay. And that's, I don't know, I feel like I'm really insulted about like, you can do better. It's not about like just doing Lynchian stuff. It's that you didn't build up like a full product. You build like just your strokes of genius left and right. But
also remember that, well, how old is David Lynch?
What, like 80 now, probably?
He's 74, so this movie came out 30 years ago. He was 44. Yeah, he was old enough to know better.
Yeah, there were no excuses.
I was going to make excuses for him being a young filmmaker, but no.
No, and once again, is that this is more than 10 years from his first movie, from The Eraserhead. It's like look, and it's true. Once again, I would say I don't think that this is a bad movie, but I think there is a movie that, given who created it, should have been better.
Okay, so you would not recommend this?
No.
Will you remember it in 6 months?
I have my doubts. I will remember like some scenes.
I remember this film from 15 years ago, not well enough to remember that it's not great, but I remember the plot, I remember the characters, I remember Willem Dafoe, I remember the motel room. I will not forget this film.
Good time. Do you think that there is something artistic about this movie?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like, as I said before, you feel like you're in David Lynch's universe. It's uncomfortable and weird and funny and gross, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, once again, some of the scenes for me, yes. Some others, I would remove them. I would remove the snake skin jacket from this movie. I wish that there was like an edit of this movie without the snake skin jacket. But I don't know, it just flew over me. You know, it's like half of the movie I was saying, like, am I missing something? And then the other half is like, no, I think that there is nothing more to it.
No, there's nothing more than cool scenes. Like you called it out earlier, but when they pull over on the side of the road and start dancing absurdly to the rock, the heavy metal band, that's a cool scene. But it's cool for like 30 seconds, and it doesn't make sense in context of the film.
Yeah, it's just for actually like, okay, you already established that Nicolas Cage character is super cool. It's like the coolest thing in the universe. But do we need to keep proving this? It's just a bit more like the premise per se, like with what you are given. It's like it just brings down the whole product. It's that even you, David Lynch, given this kind of premise, I don't know you can do like anything more interesting.
So we often call out directors who should not create their own scripts. I think David Lynch is the exception. He needs to make his own scripts.
Yeah, no, and I fully agree. I think that he has like such a bizarre visual imagery, you know, like visual language, that he needs to actually adapt the story to it. I mean, Mulholland Drive is like the perfection of that.
And something I forgot about DVDs and Blu-rays, because I watched this on DVD, not Blu-ray, is all the special features that come with it.
Oh, yeah.
So there were a couple mini documentaries with David Lynch on this DVD that I watched, and it was interesting to hear how obsessive he is. Like, if you think about that motel room, there's a tiny little lamp in the corner, and David Lynch stopped production until he could make a lamp that he believed would show up in a nasty motel in the middle of Texas. So, like, how much he cares. Like, he stopped production because he felt like a door wasn't in the right place, so they ripped down the set and built the set with a door in the right place.
Yeah,
anyway.
No. I mean, the guy is talented. The guy is a genius. There is no doubt about that. But this is not a movie. I mean, I think that some of the scenes, like the Jingle Bell and everything, I agree with you. It's like aesthetically they're amazing. Even when they're dancing, as you said, it's like that one is amazing. Even when they're in the club, you know, and everyone is like around, and the camera is like rotating around them, and you can see like the women in the background. Is it? There is like visual aspects that they are like pretty nice, pretty well elaborated. You know how disturbing everything feels. I agree with that. But I still wasn't completely sure. I had a question for you actually that I didn't want to ask you before the podcast. How do you feel about movies where they say the title of the movie almost looking at the camera?
It usually annoys me. In this particular case, it didn't, because the movie is based on a novel, and that's a line from the novel. So that came from an author who was writing from his characters, and then he pulled that to become the title, not the other way around. I'm going to find characters to say it, and then David Lynch took from that. But usually, yes, I hate it.
Yeah, I thought about that because I think that we discussed it. I felt okay at that point because it was almost at the end of the movie. And it's like it's not adding anything, but it's still like, I feel weird when they do it.
But also that Laura Dern takes every word from the script and turns it into what, in my opinion, is magic. It's magic when she speaks in this film.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that when you just started, that she spends like 30 seconds screaming like crazy. Yeah. I felt like, oh my God, I hope that this is not one of those situations that the only thing that she's going to do is screaming non-stop. And no, she doesn't scream much from that point on, so that's good, I could say.
Yeah, she describes a lot her sexual pleasure from that point.
Yeah, I mean, the script, I think, the conversations, the dialogue, I didn't like the one-liners from Nicolas Cage. And I think that this movie was not helping me redeeming Nicolas Cage as an actor.
That's fair. Well, no. Well, I think he did fantastic in this role, but because the character was Nick Cage. And so he was just Nick Cage, and it worked here. So yeah, I get it.
Is that the character you're going to be playing is like extremely intense, and he has to do like just crazy faces from time to time.
Yep, and wear sunglasses and a snakeskin jacket.
Yep, because he actually believes in his individuality, and he can only achieve it with a snake skin jacket. So should we score?
Did we get to all 4 questions? Was there one more? Would you recommend it? Is there interest?
Would you remember it? Yeah.
Would you remember it? And would you watch it again? That's the one we didn't talk about.
Yeah, probably not.
I would. In 10 years, I'll forget how I feel, and I'll be like, oh, let's watch Wild at Heart, Jose.
It was really good. And I will be like, nope. Like picking up this spreadsheet is like, nope. No, I don't think that I will watch it. I may, but it's not a movie. Honestly, I think that I will watch it. This movie actually made me want to watch Blue Velvet again.
Yeah, it made me want to watch Eraserhead. So I think that's a good sign that you want to watch more by the director when you're watching.
Yeah, but we already know that we like David Lynch. We just watched like fairly recently Mulholland Drive. So from my perspective, it's like, yeah, we confirm that the director is good. This movie is not good, but we already knew that.
All right, so this was my pick. You score.
Yeah, so my score is 5.5.
Yeah, that's my score too.
As I told you, is like I think that it's not bad, but it's not good either. I just feel like the only reason why I saved this from burning it with fire is because the scenes, those specific vignettes are amazing.
Yep. And I went back and forth between a 5.5 and a 6 until this conversation. I do think it's above like a true mediocre film, but when you compare it to the standards of David Lynch, if we were just voting on a 1 to 10 of David Lynch, I would probably give it like a 3.5. But I'm not. I'm comparing it to the remake of RoboCop. So this is
So without spoiling too much about the remake of RoboCop that I didn't watch, and I don't think that I ever watched the original one with it was Paul Verhoeven.
I didn't watch that.
Gotcha. But what would you score the remake of RoboCop?
RoboCop the remake is the first time, I think 4 years into my relationship with my husband, that he went to a movie alone because I would not go see it.
Oh, so you didn't go with him, so you never watch it?
No.
You refuse that? I
have limits. Clueless is just on this side of my limit, and RoboCop is firmly on the other side.
Okay, man. Okay. It's good that you have your principles, yeah. Well, so for the next one, you don't know what I'm picking.
No, I don't. I can't wait.
You have what?
That it's L.
No. I can tell you right now, L is something that you will have to pick, and I will hate you for that. But you will pick eventually, I know that. My next one is actually wanted to just see, as you were talking about like Nicolas Cage and that you really like him in this role, and I'm like, this is not the role that actually redeems Nicolas Cage for me. I decided to go with the one that actually redeems Nicolas Cage for me. And I watched this movie many times already, and I think that you also did too, and it's one of my favorites, but we're going to be watching adaptation.
Oh my gosh. All right.
Yeah, I just think it could be worse. It could be Leaving Las Vegas.
It could be Leaving Las Vegas or a Con Air. So, you know.
I don't think that anyone ever said that Nicolas Cage redeemed himself in Con Air, to be completely fair. But I remember like when Leaving Las Vegas came out, people in Spain were joking that is like, who said that Nicolas Cage couldn't win an Oscar even drunk? Because that's an expression in Spanish that is ni borracho, is like, that would never happen. That is like, yeah, he actually had to just get completely wasted in the movie for actually just winning an Oscar.
Just like Kate Winslet had to become a Nazi who molested children.
Yep. It's like, if that's what you had to do for the Academy realize on your greatness, you could do it.
That's what you have to do.
Yep. I would play a lesbian if it were needed, or just winning my Oscar.
I haven't seen adaptation in a long time. I remember liking it, but I like Charlie, we like Charlie Kaufman. So I'm excited to see it again, actually.
Yeah. All right, man. Anything else to say?
No. We said about all there is to say about Wild at Heart.
All right, to whoever is out there listening to us, thank you so much.
Wash your hands.